recently getting back to my daily morning tarot practice that I've step away from time to time with lots of things going on in my life. And when I do this practice, it really centers me for the day, and I very much enjoy it. So I'm sharing my daily tarot pull today. I recently studied a workshop at theyoungacademy.com called Tarot and Shadow, a guided workshop of self-reckoning with the cards by Mariana Lewis. It's a fabulous workshop. I encourage anyone interested in tarot to take a look at it. This workshop really inspired me to pull fewer cards, but also at the same time letting go of expectations that the cards I do pull will not always provide me the answer or the solution that I'm seeking. Rather, the cards are inviting me to contemplate the symbolism and maybe ask a deeper question. Pull one card, ask a deeper question. From that card, maybe it prompts me to ask another question, but yet not seeking a black and white answer. So today the first card I pulled was the Three of Arrows, called Mourning. In the traditional Rider-Waite deck, this would be the Three of Swords. The swords is the air, it's the mind, it's the intellect, okay? The second card I pulled, and by the way, the Mourning card, the first card, what is the theme of my day was my question to ponder, the overall theme of my day. The second card I asked, and I pulled the Father of Arrows, which signifies the King of Swords in the traditional deck. I asked, what is something very important to contemplate on today, to think about, to reflect on? And the last card I asked about gaining more insight into why I pulled the Three of Arrows Mourning card today. And I pulled the second major arcana in the deck. There's 22 major arcana cards in the tarot deck. The High Priestess. And these cards are from the beautiful and unique self-published Brady Tarot deck created by Emmy, E-M-I, Brady, B-R-A-D-Y. My first reaction to the Mourning, Three of Arrows Mourning card was, something like really sad is occurring here. And somehow it's going to be a theme throughout my day today. And I'm going to quote the guidebook because this is such a unique deck here. And Rachel Pollack, a tarot scholar, wrote the guidebook for Emmy. So here is what the Three of Arrows says, quote, as the title suggests, sorrow, either for someone who has actually died or for something lost in all the many ways we can suffer a loss, the end of a marriage or a friendship, a work failure, disaster in our world that affects us personally, maybe more than we might have expected. The death or loss has already happened, and now the emphasis is on grief. Further, the cards suggest leaning on others, family, friends, who will grieve with you and support you, unquote. And to quote further, describing the symbolism in this card, the birds in the picture are Western scrub jays. When one of them dies, they hold kind of a funeral. One of the joys of this deck is the discovery that practices many of us think is uniquely human also appear in nature. For all we know, human funerals were inspired by creatures like scrub jays. The birds who witness the loss gather around the dead bird and vocalize, to use Emmy's term. That sound, which all scrub jays know, brings others in the area to share the sadness. Thus we see three birds on the ground, one of them perched on the middle arrow, while two others come flying in. The joint experience ultimately becomes more powerful than the loss. So the second card that I pulled is, something I need to really contemplate today, was another arrow card, the Father of Arrows, which, as I said earlier, is the King of Swords, which is air, intellect, the mind. So we have two cards that represent thought processes thought process, the mind, our intellect, basically being in our head about things. And, quote, this card may represent an individual, but also professionals that emphasize knowledge and authority. These include the law, the military, the corporate world, and the medical profession. So, quote, the Father can indicate someone who is hyper-intellectual, who insists he or she sees everything clearly without emotion and is always right, or if not a person, a specific person, an attitude. Ultimately, however, we can expect fairness from this card, if not compassion or emotional support. This card deliberately recalls justice, where a turkey vulture holds an arrow that carries the scales. The black vulture on this card, however, is concerned less with fairness than with power and authority. That's something to contemplate. This can also, this is from my knowledge, the Father can represent a father figure, okay, of someone's actual father, or someone's boss, or someone in authority, or a professional that you're consulting with. So someone who has a lot of knowledge about something, such as a doctor or a lawyer or any of the professions that require a very strong, keen intellect. So the last card I pulled was the High Priestess, the major arcana card. And she's the mystery card, okay? I asked to understand more what the Mourning card was about, and what do I get? A card that says trust the mystery. So I will read, quote, the guidebook, inspiration and aspiration, which is to say breathing in and breathing out. The darkness that balances the magician's light, the creative feminine power of intuition as compared to the magician's consciousness. Mystery, silence, for owls fly without any noise of flapping wings. From the Tao I Ching, quote, those who know do not speak, those who speak do not know, unquote. The creative power of solitude, especially with her companion owl card, the Hermit. So this is not a time to question, it's a time to listen and act on intuition. Quote, at the bottom right, we see a small Arctic lemming, a major part of the snowy owl's diet. The High Priestess of the wilderness is not nurturing or gentle. She signifies the wisdom of life in its natural cycles. So I didn't pull any more cards than that. And as I look at these cards, I immediately notice the mind. I think of overthinking, intellectualizing sadness or grief, sharing my thoughts about sadness or grief, the father archetype, a challenging experience such as a heartbreak. So we have two cards that represent the mind and thinking. And then we have the High Priestess, which, as I said, represents quietness and going within, and basically being guided by our intuition and trusting the mystery of life. So, my day isn't over yet. So far, today, I'll share with you, personally, my father-in-law is in the hospital for a outpatient procedure, getting a bone biopsy to try and find out why his blood work shows dangerous potential health issues. He's feeling terrible, and they're trying to find out why. Another friend was in the hospital this morning having a painful procedure. She's had one every week for some time now to prepare her for an upcoming major skin graft procedure from a tragic critical injury she sustained in December of this 2025. I had another discussion with my husband's friend who has had 2 stem cell treatments to help control his severe rheumatoid arthritis symptoms. And he is here visiting, and he shared with me the significant improvements that he's experienced so far and how they've been life-changing for the better. he shared how painful and it was before he had these treatments, and he couldn't do anything. He was in pain, and he had to stop living his life the way he did before. And I shared with him my ongoing struggle with a chronic Lyme disease relapse I sustained in 2023, right after my father passed away. And I was talking about, though I do not have rheumatoid arthritis, I relate to the grief of mourning the healthy person I was before this happened. And I still have good days, and I still push myself, but I also, what this is saying to me personally for my own situation is I just have to trust the mystery and go with the flow, go with the unknown. I might not know the answer of when this is going to be better, though I am working with a medical professional, a doctor that I'm going to talk to tomorrow, who specializes in chronic Lyme. So I have another friend also. I just had dinner with her last night. She has Parkinson's, and it's very scary and very painful for her to go through this. And she recently had a stem cell treatment, and it didn't work. And she expressed her sadness about this. And that came to my mind today, too, because she shared some information with me over a text message this morning about the procedure. So I really feel like the overall message here is to get out of my headspace, for me personally, and to turn inward and to trust the unknown. Instead of relying on my logical mind, I have to go with my feelings. And I came across a quote about the High Priestess, and it said, restful waiting, unquote. So that is my tarot pull for today. The day is yet to be finished. If anything else occurs that I feel important to share about this daily pull, I will post it. Bye for now.